Well, hey guys. How are you? How is everybody? Well, I'm feeling quite sort of like magical today. I don't know what's going on. It's a very strange day. Some really strange things are sort of happening, so I thought I'd just roll with it. I didn't intend to make a video today, and then one of my daughters sent me a text to a site, a link to a site, and I thought I just had to make a video about it. And I made this video in 2019, and shortly after I made this I got quite ill, so I didn't sort of carry on the research, and then of course 2020 hit, and I lost my mojo for most of the year. And one of my subs, Rachel, has been saying to me you should go back to that zombie video, and I was intending to re-watch it, and then my daughter sent this text today. Anyway, I made this I think I feel a little bit magical because I haven't had anything to eat yet. I fully intended to have lunch, but then my daughter sent one text, and then my other daughter rang me and needed some help with some lyrics she's writing, and I just got completely lost in that. So now I'm doing this. So I'm just going to go with this. Now I've actually made some notes, which is uncharacteristic of me. So where I was going with this was I had a conversation with Kathy from Jack's Fan about what if we were a zombie workforce, and got sort of more stuff to add to this, as well as talk about this other thing my daughter sent me. So 5:36, what did I put there? Let's have a look. It's obviously something. I'll just run through this part of it because there's a bit at the end I want you to watch. So I looked at this is about this is from the Great Plains Skeptic. Zombies, where does the idea come from? So this is about a tribe called the Fon tribe. Now the Fons lived in Benin, but back then I think it was called Bowie. Yeah. Now they had very strong, because these people are mad. It's about magic and spirits and animism and the ancestors, and they had a very strong belief that when people died, their shadow walked with you. So they said that death was sacred, and their ancestors walked beside them every day, and were even a part of them. And their second belief was that when someone dies, part of them is reincarnated. So they couldn't sentence a person to death because they would be able to roam freely among the population as a spirit. So what they did, they developed a form of lobotomizing people with toxins. So the answer was that the Fon people came up with, or the answer that the Fon people came up with, is something that both fit their belief and turned a negative member of society into a positive one. Rather than executing someone, they would attempt to disable the person's ability to make the decisions that led to the crimes the people feared. In the worst cases, this involved inflicting a form of brain damage using various toxins, and allowing the person to contribute to the society in whatever remaining capacity they had. Yeah? Okay, so just bear that in mind. So the next bit is 1140.
Let's say he'd committed some crime that demanded 18 months hard labour. After the 18 months, they just stopped giving him the toxins. Now, sometimes he went back to normal, and sometimes he didn't, yeah? And that's quite important to remember that. So what they do, the active ingredient of this coup powder is a
tetrodotoxin, TTX, they'll call it TTX.
Bloody hell.
Produced in the liver and ovaries of some species of pufferfish. So it's a neurotoxin 500 times more potent than cyanide. It acts by blocking the sodium ion channels which enable nerve and heart cells to produce electrical impulses in minuscule doses, so you have to know what you're doing. So these bocors and these people...
So basically chemical koshes. So then I sort of look into the idea that West African magic and African magic, which was introduced into the Caribbean and Haiti and some areas of America, was also introduced here. And I talk about the Black Victorians, and then, God, it's such a mess, this video. This is going to be just as bitty as this one.
Now, these things...
Right, I'm just talking about how the mental hospitals were full of...
In Victorian times in England, eh?
Right.
These are some of the mental patients. Photographs. Look at these eyes on these people. How did these people go mad? I mean, you could say it was because they survived an event, or these things happened to them once they were in the asylum. Yeah? But were they mentally coshed by datura and pufferfish or whatever?
Or something introduced into their bodies somehow, which was making them into compliant...
In places like this. Because
members of society, yeah?
you see, these people, I mean, these guys that were looking after them weren't carrying guns. You know, they weren't carrying any guns. And this lot could quite easily overpower those two, and then everybody else could get their act together and do the same. Look at this lot. Look at them all. What are they doing? It said they could be put to menial work. Maybe some of them were too coshed to do very much, because look at this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people looking after all those men. And when they talked about building the panopticon at Millbank, let's see if I can find who she is. At Millbank, the panopticon, Jeremy Bentham, whose idea it was, wanted to do it on the lines of like the panopticon with one lookout point in the middle, so that you could look at all the prisoners. And they used to... and they kept them in the hulks as well. I think I saved the pictures of them. Prison hulks. I think the voice will be going slow, but it's okay because I've saved.
Yeah, the voice doesn't go slow anymore. New mic.
Yeah. And I think that it was reformers that stopped this practice, maybe, of doing this to them.
Yeah, right.
And
so
how did they do it?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about this reformers thing and how they'd stopped maybe giving them this toxic kosh, because I think maybe that's what they were doing. I genuinely do. And in that conversation that I had with Kathy, we were talking about fires in cities, these city fires, and maybe they were just burning out all the koshed people. They were just getting shot of them, and that would account for those very, very, very clean bones that look as if they had all the flesh burnt off them. They might just
just ignite the cities to get rid of the workforce once it's finished with. And emotionally coshing people is a good way to get complete control over them, isn't it? I'm not saying anything about the current situation realm-wide because I don't think I need to. Anyway, I'll finish this to the end and then I'll show you this other stuff.
Gave them a lot of gin, didn't they? Maybe they just stuck it in the gin. I don't know. But there was a huge workforce and there were a lot of people doing a lot of work. There was a lot of stuff done and we don't know how it was done. There was a massive workforce. A lot of people probably died. They kept them in prison ships and they put them in mental hospitals when they weren't any good anymore.
Okay, on the same subject, Black Sheep Researcher did a video, not his latest one, the one before that, about star forts and catacombs, and he's been looking at different star forts. He's found some really good ones as well, and they've all got catacombs or ossuaries or some sort of place, mausoleum, where they've got these ghastly sort of collections of bones. So I'm wondering now if these bones aren't the workforces of these places. So they were like an emotionally like a totally coshed workforce who's, when their time was done, they just torched the place and got shot of them and then used their bones in some sort of energetic transference, magnetic, electric, whatever it is. I can't ever get my head around that. And also, you know, the King Solomon thing, when he said that his temple was built by demons or whatever, maybe it was just possessed people or coshed people who were just working like, well, they just work until they drop, I would think. And that'd be a lot of bodies to burn. Let's finish this.
It just doesn't make any sense, does it? Okay. Look, all these women. All these women, like in a mental hospital. These are all old women. I don't know what's gone on in this world. I don't see it beyond the realms of possibility that a means of psychologically coshing a workforce came into their possession and they decided to make the most of it. Look at this person. And then maybe they lost the potion and decided to do it with what do you call it, electroconvulsive therapy or whatever.
You see, they might have found some side effect.
Anyway, it's a theory. Datura.
They might have found some side effect from some medicine that they're using, one of their pharmaceuticals, because they are experimenting on us. That does it, or maybe they've been developing it. This sort of like zombification thing. Anyway, I twitter on about Datura here for a bit. They call it Hell's Bells, and they use that saying a lot up in the north of England. So, okay, my daughter sent me this link. First I'll put you this one, because this gives a bit of background. I don't want you to play. Or maybe it won't play. Right, so CDC updates zombie preparedness guidelines just in case an outbreak occurs. In case you wondered what to do during a zombie outbreak, the CDC has updated its zombie preparedness guidelines. Since the beginning of time, people have been obsessed with the possibility of a zombie apocalypse, Walking Dead, Black conspiracy theorists believe that one day the movie Resident Evil will be the world we live in. While this sounds nuts, the CDC guidelines help you treat cuts and bites and blah blah blah. Right, so, okay. And this is the link she sent me. So this is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. So this is the part of it, this is the Centre for Preparedness and Response. So, zombie preparedness for educators. Preparedness 101, zombie pandemic, preparedness ideas for educators. So they sort of present it slightly tongue-in-cheek. Apparently it wasn't quite as tongue-in-cheek as it is now. But it's basically what to do in the case of a disaster, and they use zombies as the disaster scenario. So if you look here, history. So the objective is to learn from past disasters to prepare for future emergency situations. From the Common Core State Standards history. So what happened, how many people were affected, how did communities respond, what could have been done better to prepare, and then they assign each student or pair a previous event and then have them research and assign disaster. So use the remaining class period for brief presentations and discussion on preparedness, and then they give a list of disasters they could use and discuss what preparations were in place and what was done and all this, that and the other. Yeah. Classify what sort of a disaster it was, what were the threats on the community, and then they refer back to September the 11th and emergency preparedness. What is a disaster? So all these different types of disaster that are here, they've decided that for the sake of I don't know what, they'll use a zombie apocalypse. So this is quite interesting. Right. So here we go. Here's all the curriculum stuff. This is all the bloody rubbish. Right, lesson, prompt. The zombie apocalypse threat is imminent. The mayor's staff has been compromised and it is up to you to write a speech for the mayor. Right. Dear me. They do this a lot on some Netflix films as well. When they have a disaster, it shows people organising themselves and quarantine. Blimey O'Reilly. What was the other one I looked? Oh yeah, detectives. That was it. Disease detectives. Right, this is the scenario. An increasing number of citizens are disappearing, especially at night. These victims are reappearing as perpetrators. They are slow-moving, very strong. They are impervious to pain injury and appear to be unaware of their surroundings. We've discovered that after the victims disappear, they reappear without human blood. Without blood flow, these perpetrators freeze quickly. We believe this is why they are headed south to warmer temperatures. They are constantly hungry and attacking at an alarming rate. We're currently trying to figure out how to stop them, but a defensive standoff is not a long-term solution. We need to figure out how this virus originally affected the first victims. Here's what we do know. All the victims attended a carnival in Vancouver. We've collected interviews, but haven't had time to review them for consistencies. What we need from you agents is a thorough investigation. We need to know the root cause of this virus in order to create a vaccine to stop the growing mass of those infected. School ain't what it used to be, is it, man? So, there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk going on. There's a lot of talk going on about what is happening with what is being rolled out. And something else. I don't know if I should show any clips of any videos anymore on YouTube. I think that you just get banned for thinking words now. Okay, it's I'm not going to play all of this because I hate it. Oh, Blackstar. Close. Creepy, weird, jerky dancing. It's in here a couple of times, but I'll link that if you are so inclined to watch it. But I found it quite disturbing. And that was something else that Black Sheep researcher mentioned, that in different areas at different times they had this dancing plague where everybody just started dancing, couldn't stop dancing until they died. Yeah? So who knows, who knows what's going on, who knows the secret of the black magic box, eh? So zombie preparedness. So I'll link my video in case you sort of want to watch it in its entirety, and I'll leave the link to the CDC site, of course. And I hope you're all well, and if you're having a strange day as well, it just seems to be something that's happening right now. And I just go with the flow. I just watching the world go by, man. That's all I can do. See you later, and thanks for watching. Cat jumping around in here now.